everyone.
Wow, wow. Can everyone hear us? We're trying to make sure this Wi-Fi is okay. We're letting more people in the room.
Can hear you.
Can hear you.
Okay, good. All right, so we got to tell y'all the real truth now. Welcome. I'm trying to let somebody in. Who's that? Oh, Zoila, good to see you. What's up, Zoila? So look, y'all not gonna believe this, but we're in El Paso, Texas right now. And I mean, maybe 10 minutes ago, 15 at the least, we just got into the room. So we got into the room, we set up the lights, we set up the whatever we gonna do. And we said, let's get ready to roll because we got here 20 minutes to the hour we were supposed to be on. All right, so if we look kind of whacked out because we just got out the car, they see my shirt's not even right. I'm trying to get right. See if don't worry about it. We family, right? We family guys. Just trying to cover up. And by the way, for all the people from Berean, that is the Berean, right here. Like that's the Berean shirt. Just let you know. I ain't trying to, Berean ain't paid me to advertise from as we say. But I'm just glad to have a shirt to present. So, if I look a little tidy, really because we just got out the car. But we're ready to go.
Yes, and we are so glad that you have joined us. This is the road trip version. Today's topic is how to eat healthy while on a road trip. And as we promised, we said that we would attempt to take you along with us and kind of share with you what we've had to do since starting this road trip.
Man, and food deserts, man, we just run right on into them, hard to find something without, cutting up that cow and getting that really between those sandwiches and all that. But we managed to at least show you some things. I don't know if the pictures are ready. We're trying to get it set up so you can get some idea of what it's like to travel and then try to eat the best way you can. You don't always have to pull into the Mickey D's, but sometimes that's the only thing you got. But
that's right. Sometimes that's all you have.
Yes.
But it is as I saw somebody in the chat, we have
okay.
we have the questions that were being asked of you earlier. Some of you were probably like, oh, this is interesting. Why are they asking these questions? But it's because we're on a road trip. And the reality is, I'm trying to multitask as I'm speaking with you guys, trying to download some of the pictures that we took. But anyway, the reality is that it can be tough, right? When you are on the road and you are trying to eat, okay? Sometimes, and we're talking from experience here, okay? Yes. So this isn't, we talk about health, but we're also human. So sometimes it's easy to just pull into the Jack in a Box or whatever fast food there is available, right? Sometimes it's easy to just pick up a bag of chips and I don't know what else it would be. So anyway, there were some questions that we had our audience answer. And so one of the first questions was, what are some of your favorite, what do you eat on a road trip? And so some of the answers were sandwiches and fruit.
All right, Vanessa.
That's really good. And that's actually right up our alley. In a minute, or not in a minute, but a little later on, we'll show you guys how we prepped for the first part of this trip. And yes, sandwiches and fruit are definitely good. Various snacks like trail mix and sandwiches, fruits, liquids, etc. Another one, nuts, chips, fruit, mainly munchies. Yeah, and a lot of times, when we're on road trips, munchies are usually, especially if you're driving and you're, trying to make it through, a certain part. And sometimes, munchies are easy to just, they're handy for you to eat while you're driving. So anyway, the second question, second question was, what's the longest road trip that you have taken? And so I see someone who said from California to New Orleans. Now that's pretty far. Our final destination is the northeast part of Texas, the Dallas area. So New Orleans is definitely even longer than the road trip we're going to be doing. Someone else said California to Wisconsin. That's that. I don't know how many.
It's Midwest, so
you'll have to
the big lake.
Yeah, Michelle.
Around Chicago.
Right, Michelle. You'll have to tell us how many hours that took you. California to Huntsville. Yes, you've done that one.
A whole lot. Back and forth to Oakwood University. So yes, from 18 years of age to about 24.
Right, and then your children.
Yes, my children, taking them back and forth also.
Right.
This is true.
Right. And then LA to Walla Walla.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah,
yes.
that's quite.
Yeah, that's a long journey.
Yes.
Yeah, we just talked to somebody who just left and they're on their way to Washington. In fact, they went up to Seattle for a funeral.
Okay.
So that's a long journey. So
yeah,
that's really good.
And then the last question was, is there a favorite spot that you like to stop at whenever you go on road trips? Sometimes there might be iconic places depending on, where you're going, or sometimes it might be a particular area or a particular place that is only available in a particular area. Like for example, and most of you know that have done the trip to the south of not that we stop there, but something that is available in a particular area, right? We saw Waffle House.
Yes.
Right. So those of you, Waffle House is not in California.
Bless you for the Waffle House.
We didn't stop there, but sometimes people like to stop in certain areas that might, that you're only going to find that particular place in a particular area. So one of the ones that I see here is Anderson's Pea Soup Factory. That's a popular one. I think
because we've been, that takes me way back to high school, traveling either with Lanaire's singing group or the band. And that was a favorite spot. I don't know if you really ate the pea soup, but it was just a good spot for me to sit in. I tried to work through the pea soup, but that was good. That is a good spot.
Right, exactly. So and I've never been to Anderson Pea Soup. Passed by it all the time, yes. but have never actually eaten there. I don't know.
Who said be safe? Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Go ahead.
No, what were
just trying to make sure that I'm thankful thank you for wishing us well on our safe. We're safe. We're safe. A whole lot of COVID stuff out there. A lot of masks wherever we went. We had to mask up and go in and try to shop for you. Thank you all for providing the little Cash App contributions. It has helped, made a big difference. We were able to quickly shop on you for this demonstration today.
That's right.
So your contribution is really helping for us to keep this ministry going. Yes, we drove. We stopped at a couple of one rest area. Stopped. Those of you know, if you're a senior, you got to stop at a lot of rest areas. Amen. But we did it. We made it through to this point. So what do we have? If there are more questions? So what we're going to do is show you some very, very simple way. So today, we're not using the kitchen to cook or make something. We had to go out, use a little change in case you wanted to know there are different ways that you can actually eat healthy, the best you can on the road.
That's right.
So you'll get a chance to see some things here in a little bit.
So we're about to share a screen with you so that you can see one of the places because of the Wi-Fi situation,
Yes.
there are a whole bunch of pictures and videos that we took that for
They're
some
on the way,
reason
but they're not.
are taking forever to download, and especially the videos. They might download by the time we finish.
Yeah.
That is the rate at which we're working with. So,
And we're not even on the
pictures.
hotel Wi-Fi. We had to do, what is this?
We had to use our
Yeah,
hotspot
our
because
hotspot.
the hotel Wi-Fi was not working. And you know what? I don't know if we should say what hotel we're at. We don't want to
Embarrass them.
but the Wi-Fi is not good. All right, so so we're gonna be showing you pictures. So as you can see here, do you want to tell them where we were?
Well, okay, so look, this is one of those places where the big cities like still miles away, and the big city is like still miles from where you came from. So this is, I don't want to insult the city, but it's kind of like, I don't know where we're at. But we get off the freeway, it's one of those, what is it, quick, what is it, quick, the QT. I think it might have been a QT. I don't know. We're gonna see.
This picture?
Yeah. We walked in and it's got a lot of native stuff on to the left. And
Oh no, that's
a
that's
dairy
the wrong picture. But
queen.
yes, you can talk about.
Oh,
that.
I see where I'm at.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So that was one I thought might come up where I was pointing to something. But on this picture, my bad, we are actually in El Paso, a certain part of El Paso. Got a little to the side. For those of you who know, El Paso's like, you can look that way and there's Mexico. That's how low down we are. I mean, that's how far down we are. So we're driving on the road, Rio Grande River to the
Yes.
right, shopping places to the left. We find an indigenous Latino market called Rio Grande. All right, so we go in there, and this is where I'm at. I'm at these fresh made salsas. I don't want to say cheeses, but just toppings that you can dip avocados down there, right almost under my elbow. Okay, freshly made. I'm all masked up. I'm really just trying to figure out with your motto which one to get. Over my right shoulder on the top shelf are pinto beans. Yamada had to make sure that the pinto beans didn't have added things that used to be on a farm somewhere, but you know how that works. We'll try and make sure no bacon, no lard was in there, just pure pinto beans. So I have to tell you my little experience there. So you know the checkout person is speaking some Spanish because one of the items didn't have the price on it. We had to do a double check. So Yamada with her beautiful, beautiful first language Spanish speaks in Spanish back, and the cashier, in my humble opinion, did not even like respect the beautiful sounding Hispanic melodic sound from Yamada First Lady. I got a little attitude because I'm like, she gonna try to talk English and call on the boys to make sure that we were getting the right stuff at the right price that she said in Spanish. So, you know, other than that, it was cool. She started really getting nice.
Yeah, I think
with the boys and all
yes,
that.
I think she was a little thrown off.
Yes.
Now it's interesting because when we, and this is a little side note. So when we got there, you know, Anthony's like, oh, well, you know, you'll be able to speak your Spanish, you know, Mexico's right there. And I said to him, yeah, but I'm not Mexican. So my accent is not Mexican. So they'll be able to tell right away that I'm not Mexican. But I think this lady actually thought that like we learned Spanish. And I don't know if for her, you know, she saw too many people of color and decided that people of color that a little darker wouldn't necessarily
flow like that,
know how to speak Spanish. In jesting, I was like, she was probably like, oh, how cute. She was trying her Spanish. But anyway, well,
we ended on a real good note because she was really impressed with the boys, thought they were twins, all that good stuff, you know. Really making up.
That was a sidebar.
All right.
So but the reality is
they have good fresh stuff.
That's right. And we've talked about how in the past that Latino markets are usually really good in terms of when you're trying to find fresh things. So in this case,
Yes.
we, as Anthony told you earlier, by the time we were trying to time it, and the time we got here, it's like we're not going to be able to have time to
Right,
prepare
prepare.
stuff. But even on the road, you can find freshly made things.
All right. So what we did, we plugged in the Google, some vegan options or some opportunity to see if there's something made fresh, and up pops this market. We make our way there and we find this shelf here. So we're in a good road. We're in a good spirit. We're in a good mood.
That's right.
So you can make sure that any Latino market, perhaps Asian market, especially Caribbean market, they're going to have those awesome choices that come straight from the plant base. So we pick up a couple items and here we are. Is that up yet?
Yes.
Things here. Okay,
Yeah.
so here we are at the counter. You see the watermelon there. Can't lose with a watermelon, especially if it just came right across the Rio Grande.
Oh, that was pretty good. Say it again.
Rio Grande. Grande. I'm trying to practice. I'm trying to mesh in with the culture.
Good job.
So that watermelon came across the river, and we know it's loaded with season, loaded with all that lycopene and all that good stuff. You see the water because we drank a lot of water on the trip. So those are things. And so we decided that we would try a simple haystack.
Yes.
So Yamada's going to kind of show you how we put all that together. For those of you we're back, I kind of snuck out early because I was trying to see my other pictures. So as some of you said, Yamada, you ready to show them? You pre-made some sandwiches. I got this from Farmer Joe's in Oakland, kind of close to where Winds of Love is at. And these are pumpkin seeds. They season them with tamari. So that's good. So I made a big bag and I just on the trip grab some and chew, and it's full of zinc, and zinc is one of those minerals they're asking you to take to fight COVID-19. So I just grab them and use them as a snack, carry them in the bag. I have another bag that's got walnuts in it. I've had pistachios, already ate them up. So those are my go-to protein situations while I travel. And trust me, when you get a handful of these every now and then, they will fill you up. And you won't be as quick to grab the potato chips. I say as quick, but these will fill you out and give you the energy and the power to fight. Pumpkin seeds, this one happens to be flavored with tamari. If you buy your own raw pumpkin seeds and you want to roast them a little bit and to allow that those minerals to get going, and then you season them. You can season them with a little bit more than tamari. They do a good job, and these really work well for me. Men, the zinc is powerful for the prostate, and you'll see the energy level fight whatever you got coming down if you just take a handful of these. All right, so
Yes.
I got walnuts. I got, I used to grab them. Walnuts good for vitamin E. It's good for recuperating from muscle soreness. So you can actually begin to be a part of.
That's right. And you said the zinc part too?
Yes, for the pumpkin seeds.
Yes, yes. And so that's part of the prepping. And we're gonna switch the screen and then we're gonna show you
Yes.
the other things that we prepped the day before coming on the trip. So some of you were talking about oh, that's what's happening. Okay. Let me go ahead. I just realized that the video is disabled for participants. There we go. All right.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So some of you were talking about just how you're able to some of the fruits and vegetables and things. Some of you said sandwiches. And so, like we were saying, when we prepped, it was kind of the same way. So it's a little shaky here. but as you can see, here are some sliced up cucumbers, as well as baby carrots. Okay, and then I love sun-dried tomatoes, so I put some in a baggie. I actually made these sun-dried tomatoes, so I'll be posting the recipe. It's very quick and easy if you love sun-dried tomatoes. I have here cut up green onions, and then of course you see a sandwich here, and this sandwich. The sandwich that Anthony and I ate was a little different than the one we created for the boys. Okay, so for the boys, we kind of did a vegan version of turkey and cheese sandwich. Now, when you have to travel on a road trip, you don't want a soggy sandwich. So for the dressing, instead of mayo, I went ahead and spread it cream cheese. Now, this is actually vegan cream cheese, and we bought this one at Whole Foods. Okay, so I just spread the cream cheese on the bread, and then went ahead and put a slice of smoked provolone. Again, this is vegan, and we bought this one at Whole Foods as well. And then most of you or some of you might be familiar with tofurkey. These are veggie turkey slices, and so that's what their sandwich was made of. Our sandwich, we pretty much did like the English tea sandwich, the cucumber. So what I ended up doing is I ended up putting some cut up green onions into the cream cheese to mix it up. And then I use that as the spread for the bread. And then as I showed you the cut up cucumbers, sliced really thinly. And then my twist was adding the sun-dried tomatoes. Yes. And that was our sandwich. Again.
Now you had a goal for these.
Yes. So with the baby,
good idea.
Right. So baby carrots, some people like to eat them. They don't need to dip them in anything, right? So you can obviously you can eat these. You can eat these however you would like them. The goal was we didn't necessarily get the enough time to do it, but you can you can dip baby carrots and everything, right? So we were gonna do hummus. Mm-hmm. You can do guacamole. I've dipped them in guacamole, really, really good. Just things that you can carry on a road trip that are easy and accessible and healthy. And this really lasted us for the whole road trip. Starting from yesterday afternoon up until all day today. Along with the sandwich and some of the things here, and we don't have the other dry snacks, but we also have like you guys are familiar with Skinny Pop?
Yes.
So it's the little popcorn. So if you feel like chips, Skinny Pop is always really good. What I love about Skinny Pop is that it doesn't have a lot of ingredients, and it also is low in salt. So that was kind of like our chip.
Help with the fiber.
And then of course, in terms of fruits, we did we did cherries, and we did the
best
black grapes. Now these are seedless because we were only able to stop at Whole Foods, and Whole Foods unfortunately does not sell seeded grapes. But for those of you that are in the Bay Area in Oakland, and you're interested in buying seeded grapes, you can actually buy them from Farmer Joe's. Mm-hmm. So those of you who are familiar with Farmer Joe's, there's one off of the 580 in Fruitvale, and then there's another Farmer Joe's off of the 35th, off of the 580. Yeah, it might be 35th and MacArthur, but you can find seeded grapes there. But As we talked yesterday, last Sabbath, last Sunday, if you can't find seeded, right? We went ahead and, like you said, we found the next best thing, which was the organic seeded.
Because you want that fiber anyway. Seed is the best. We want the fiber. And then at one of the stops, because on the trip, we're going to get this really, really good. On the trip, it has not been under 90 degrees, right? Mm-hmm. So today it got as high as maybe 107, 109. Right now in El Paso, it has cooled down to 102 degrees, right? So what happens in that is you drink water, but it goes right through you. I mean, it just, the dehydration factor is there. So we were able to get a cut up watermelon.
Yes.
And so at one of the stops, I needed to hydrate a little bit more. So I just ate the watermelon. And then we were able to stop at Jamba Juice. We didn't take a picture of that. We wish we could have. We wanted to do, we stopped at Jamba Juice, and we didn't go in and try to do the smoothie.
No.
Because this was early in the morning, but we got our sizes of orange juice because we wanted, again, the energy, and we wanted the fiber to go in there. Because when you're traveling on the road, sometimes the constipation can be really, really tough. So you don't want to be, locked up, even though, you want to make sure the rest areas are the cleanest. You want to find places that are clean. So you want to go to areas that, have clean restrooms. And sometimes before COVID, you could actually just walk in one of the hotels and just walk by and go to the restroom. But I don't know what they're doing with that right now. So what I'm saying is, once I got the watermelon and chewed on that, I got hydrated to where we really had to make a lot of stops. But then the orange juice got in there and, man, just really washed the colon clean. So I was happy with that. And so this is what we want to encourage you, that if you're traveling, especially in the summer, sometimes there are places that still dehydrate you, even when it's cold weather. So you want to watch that also. You should always be hydrating, so that the food, the minerals, the vitamins move swiftly and begin to feed you through your intestines.
That's right. So we're going to go ahead and show you, share with you the picture that Anthony was sharing the story about earlier. And this was at that stop at that native.
Yes,
place.
Thank you. So this is, it's kind of like, they call them outposts. Some of you have traveled either Western states, Southern states, wherever there's been a cowboy and an Indian issue, a story. They're going to have these, what you call these outposts. So we looked all over. We saw, relics. We saw indigenous kinds of items, whether it was, feathers and all. You all know all that. Blankets, really good.
Yes, serapes.
They were just beautiful things. And then, of course, on the other side of it was a Dairy Queen, which the boys got excited about, the Dairy Queen.
Yes, the blizzard, particularly.
Teenagers in the blizzard. So you know how that goes. So we didn't want to show y'all that part, and they didn't get it. So we testify that. So we went to this aisle, which was the only healthy aisle, because the chips and everything that you and we all love are on the back side of this. But on this side, you're going to see are these dried peas, dry peas, which is the green item. You'll see various nuts of, the seeds of the pumpkin seeds without the tamari is right there on the shelf near the top, right under the top shelf on the right side. And then you have trail mix. And so these are all good. On the bottom, you have dried fruit.
Right.
So you may see pineapple down there, and papaya, or something.
And like yogurt. One of them are the yogurt colored pretzels. And so we're talking about healthier choices.
Yes.
So I'm a chocoholic. I'm a professed chocoholic. I know if there were a Chocolate Anonymous, I probably need to attend. So for me, sometimes when we're on road trips and I have that chocolate craving, I will dive into a Kit Kat, or something like that. But chocolate, or I think these might be yogurt covered pretzels.
Yes.
Sometimes there's chocolate covered pretzels. Those are usually a healthier choice than the chocolate bar that has all kinds of
Mhm.
sugar
Mhm.
and ingredients that are not good for us that we can't pronounce. Whereas most of the times, your yogurt covered pretzels or your chocolate covered pretzels are going to have way less ingredients and are definitely a better choice.
Okay, and then next to those pretzels are chocolate covered almonds. That's another
Yes.
opportunity
Yes.
to be able to eat the best
That's right.
of two worlds.
That's right.
Under that, I don't know your all's view of this, but for those of you who went to high school, you're coming up to the 60s, 70s, and 80s, even 90s, they had licorice. So some of that is red licorice, and this is the black licorice. Um, licorice, black licorice is made out of anise. How do you say that?
Yes.
The anise
Uh-huh.
is good for stomach issues. However, when it got candied,
Right.
I can't tell you. You got to get the
Right.
warning and sort of understand that it doesn't have the same effect, even though it may taste good to
Yes.
some people.
Right.
Everybody doesn't like the black one. Some people don't like the red one. They call them twisties. They got all kind of names for them now.
I don't like licorice.
Yeah. So if that ain't your cup of tea, people that like to gnaw on those things, there are those
Yes.
opportunities for some. We prefer that you choose, if you have the choice, something with a little ginger in it. So
Yes, which
just
I
keep that in
think
mind.
is what these are. If you following this little red dot that you might see on your screen, crystallized ginger.
Yeah.
And those are those are good. Ginger is good, good, good. The only thing that we can say in terms of when you are looking at trail mixes and dried fruits and things, there is one particular ingredient that you do want to look out for that's not necessarily the best, which is silicon dioxide.
Right.
It's a preservative to try to
Keep it on the shelf.
keep it on the shelf. But again, when we're talking about choices, still the silicon dioxide is going to be a better choice versus MSGs and other things that you will find in the more processed or commercial candy bars. And like you were saying, in terms of it being a store of relics, if you have issues with snakes, we are sorry for the picture.
This is a belt.
But yes, this is a belt, and I can upload the other pictures. There was one of these around a cowboy hat, and they had keychains with rattlesnake heads with their fangs open, just as you see them right here in true Southwest.
Come on.
Area, region, fashion.
A few years back, you and I had the privilege of being a part of the very popular Ramona pageant.
Yes.
And it was done with an outdoor theater. Your mother was a good singer. I don't know, did you do little dances? You didn't do the little village dancing, but you were in the small singing group of ladies that did an excellent job as people were walking in, and then we were all part of the show. I was some kind of sad Indian way up on the hill, and I had a wig on, so you won't recognize me. I look like the Black Jesus, but I was way up on the hill singing some goodbye song or see you later with another group of men. But anyway, one of those guys was a true native individual. In fact, there were two of them. So one of them was telling me this story because he had on his walking stick, he had the skin of a rattlesnake. And I was like, man, what are you doing with the rattlesnake, man? He said, oh no, man, you don't waste nothing with the rattlesnake. I said, what do you mean you don't waste anything? He said, man, we use all the parts. I said, well, what do you do with the inside? This is skin. He said, we roast that bad boy. We eat it. You eat the rattlesnake? Yeah, this is my people, man. You guys gotta, come up on game. I said, okay. So when I saw this in the store, I thought about
him.
Somebody fried that bad boy.
Now
we're not supposed to eat snake, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, okay, good.
Although I hear it tastes like chicken. Most things that people have not ever tasted, it always for some reason tastes like chicken. I do have to say though, my oldest son, Nicholas, he's deathly afraid of snakes. So I was trying to show him the showcase, and he just would he
Still
would
way
he
off.
would not
I
watch. He
don't
would
even want
not
to see it.
no, he would
Dead
not.
or alive. They
Yes,
just want to see
he's
it.
not one.
So that was part of that little cultural
Yes,
trip that we
yes,
saw.
yes.
That's in there with the food, and many of you who've traveled, you know them. Pull off, go in there and look for the natural things. Other thing we didn't run into, but we have up and down the 5. I saw one of them speak about going all the way up into Washington. A couple of people traveled that 5 on Seattle. Sometimes on the side of the road, you'll see they don't call them quite farmers market, but they are fruit stands, and they are excellent choice. They have these sometimes these same dried fruits, as well as the live fruits, and you will get full because there are a lot of other choices with that. But you'll get a whole lot of full with that.
Yes.
And just ask them what kinds are not sprayed or whatever you don't know. Read it yourself. They'll show you. Some of them have candied up some things. Like I saw a cactus that was a candy in that market we just saw. So they do a lot of things, but you ask questions because your tummy will react if it ain't mixed right.
Right. So you want to be safe when you're on a road trip. If you have not tasted something, it is best, unless you've got some Tums, Pepto-Bismol, or in our case, charcoal is part of our first aid kit. It's usually best not to try it while you're on the road, because you definitely, when you're on the road, you're not if all of a sudden there might not be a rest area or a gas station near you.
Or urgent care.
Yes.
Get to a small town and Doc has gone to bed. He's not getting up for a while.
So it's usually, we have found, it's usually a good rule of thumb until you get to your destination where, you can explore. And I know Pamela's on here, and I have to, I'm still reminded of a testimony that you gave, and it might have been part of a sermon that you gave when you were talking about she was talking about a trip that she took with her sisters, and how she, just most would think she went overboard in terms of what to pack in terms of first aid, and that's something that we might have to address on another Zoom call. But she put in there an EpiPen. And long story short, because I don't want to tell her story, but it ended up being that at the end of the day, she had to use it. And I believe it was on her sister, and it saved her life. So again, when you're traveling, sometimes you don't know. That's the thing. In terms of trying something new, you might want to, because sometimes it might be something that up till now, you haven't had any allergies. But it might be something that you've never had, and then all of a sudden you have a reaction to it, and it could be a situation like in that case, which in that case it was God sent that there was something.
And great point. A McDonald's or a hot dog stand in California may not be the same as a McDonald's and hot dog stands in another state. Just pay attention.
Right. And then just back on what you were, I loved what you were saying in terms of the fruit stands. I have to say, when you start traveling southeast, I don't think we didn't see any once we left the state of California. Okay, and it might be different going like Oregon and Washington State, that area, but going southeast. Once we left California, if I remember correctly, those fruit stands were pretty much gone. So if you, depending on where you're traveling, definitely if you can find those fruit stands, those are amazing places to stop.
Always try your best to take either dried figs or prunes or live ones, that haven't had the water taken out of them. Soak them a little bit, or you can chew on them, because you're going to need fiber when you travel. You want your system to move. Now, if your system moves too easily, you don't want to be on the plane waiting in line, when you really got to go. Or you go to one of these stops and it's only got one stall in there, and you got some issues. I had one of those today. But what I'm saying is you got to know your body,
Mhm.
know the timing of things.
Mhm.
Sometimes you know your body's about to release, but we practice trying to hold it to
Yeah.
the next stop.
Yeah.
Go, just go, because that's what we learn. Whatever you eat will actually sometimes have that reaction. You got to go take care of business. Better to relieve it early than to try and wrestle with something late when
Yes.
things aren't running smoothly your way.
Right. And one thing that I have to say is that when you are intentional, especially if it's a car trip, it's a long road trip, I have noticed that in being intentional in our food prep,
Yes.
um,
Oh yeah.
I mean, energy
Yes.
throughout the road trip.
Yes.
So if you know you're going to be driving long distances, if you're eating, burger and fries or, Taco Bell or what have you, that drive is going to be arduous
Yep.
because the energy is not going to be there. But I really love how, I have to say that we had a lot of energy.
Yes.
And I don't have it with me. Do you have your water?
Yes, I do.
So one of the things that we also did is, how to make sure that we keep hydrated, particularly with water. And so, these, and many of you probably already have them, but this really, really, really did come in handy during our trip because, part of our trip was also budget.
Mm-hmm.
So buying gallons of water, and we had a cooler, we had ice in there and what have you, putting some ice in here, filling it up with water and having it with you to drink. That is something that people can sometimes tend to underestimate.
Right. The battle against dehydration. Just think about this. A lot of pioneers, especially in the gold rush, 1848, 49, 50s, that rushed to California, they underestimated traveling in covered wagons through, first of all, native turf, which, we was on the Indian side, but, we was on the native people side. But, every now and then they got through. But coming through all of that dust, we saw signs today that if you get into one of these dust storms, don't even try to fight through it. Pull over, turn off your lights, and keep your seatbelt on. So that's some tough stuff. And also the monsoon season. But anyway, what I'm saying is you underestimate the heat and the dust and how it can dry you out. So many of those pioneers died on the way. That's why you see skeletons in the desert, et cetera, straight from dehydration, not getting enough fruit, the juices from fruit, the hydration from all that. It really, really drained them. So you just remember that's why we had to store up, because we knew that this trip was not going to be cool.
Right.
It's just not going to be cool. So it's been, like I said, not once did it get under 90 the whole trip.
Yeah.
We're 10 hours in, 8 hours more to go. So
right.
We're just trying to tell you, from Oakland to Chino to El Paso.
Yes.
That's our journey.
Yes. And like you said, we still have 8 more hours to go. But and you know what? This really worked out again when we were talking about budget and keeping everyone hydrated. Everyone had one of these. That's really good to know. So everyone had one of these. Okay, so we did, the boys did, and really, honestly, that's, other than the orange juice that you and I had, so far, that's all we've been drinking is water. And even though going through a hot place, we were in an air-conditioned car, but running that air conditioner, dry, it was drying out our eyes and our nasal passages and the throat. And so, I mean, even though we were cool, but it was still dry. It was still drying us out. So this water is, sometimes you don't realize how important water is until you're actually going through something. So this was good.
It was good.
Now, of course, we've shown you guys healthy stuff, but there's fun stuff that we like to do. The ginger beer. There's fun stuff that we also like to, we like to have some fun on these road trips. It's not all just, boring, healthy. Yeah. So you know, we love, and many of you will identify with this, but this is ginger beer, okay? Ginger beer. So this is something that it's kind of like our splurge. If we want to say, oh, we want soda, we get this particular ginger beer, and if you can read on the bottom, it says strong. It says strongest. Okay, so that means we want the strongest ginger. It's the name is ginger beer. I promise this is non-alcoholic. I just want to put that out
We're
there.
not getting loaded now.
Okay, it's non-alcoholic. However, this is good stuff. And when people talk about, I remember being younger, whenever I would have an upset stomach, my grandmother would give me,
Yes.
ginger ale. And, and so, or sometimes it would be ginger beer.
Yeah.
And let me tell you that I'll say this, ginger ale is good, but ginger ale is the weak version of
beer.
ginger beer. And it's because of the amount of ginger in this. So this is our splurge, our fun. But technically it's still healthy. Ginger beer. And this one we bought at Whole Foods. You can buy this particular brand is Reed's.
Yes.
There are all kinds of brands of ginger beer depending on where you are. But we like this particular brand here in the States. Now, if you go to the Jamaican store, you go to a Caribbean store, then you're gonna find ginger beer from Jamaica, some that come from Panama, some that come from Costa Rica. Good stuff.
Amen.
Good stuff.
Amen. So I see somebody. Way to go. Panamanians ought to know it's good stuff. That's right. So what? Check this out. So we go to the store, we say, what can we put together to show our followers what we're going to do tonight? So we decide on something real simple that's fun, like she said. So we're going to do just a simple haystack.
Yes.
We saw the pinto beans.
Right.
So what are the chips? Got the chips over there?
Well, I'm going to give you this so that you
okay,
can.
yes. Follow you?
Yes.
All right. So we got this.
There we go.
All right. So.
All right. So one of the things that you saw that we bought when we were at the store was a can of the pinto. Not a can. This is fresh. A container of fresh pinto beans. Only has water and salt. Okay. So freshly made today, and I went ahead and bought 2 of these because boys, they eat a lot. So I already opened up a container and put them in here. And of course, I want to add a little something to it. So this is, I bought this also. Many of you will recognize these. You're at a Latino store when you see these seasonings. So this one is onion powder. Okay. So just adding some onion powder to this. All right. As well as some garlic powder, because when you're traveling, you don't necessarily, I'm not trying to buy up all that garlic and stuff because, I'm not going to use it really. So this is better to keep when you're traveling. And I like a lot of garlic. All right. And this has already been seasoned with salt when we bought it. So it's just really about mixing it up and letting it simmer for a little while. And while this is simmering, we also bought, these are some actually homemade chips. And you can tell the homemade chips, they look different than the commercialized chips. Usually the homemade chips will be a little thicker. And what I loved about this is that it only has 3 ingredients. You can't really read them because they're really, really small. It might get blurry, but it's basically corn, vegetable oil, and salt. Okay, that's all this has in it. So we bought these. And then of course, we also will be cutting up here some tomatoes as well. And to put on top of, you know, we call it haystacks. I'm not sure, you know, those that are not familiar with our particular belief or religious belief in our little community, we call them haystacks. Other people who have no idea what haystack is, look, that's okay if you don't know. You guys would probably call it nachos, okay? Just really glorified nachos at the end of the day, okay? So, so what I like to do with these is, you know, just kind of dice the tomatoes, and I'm just gonna do one. This is kind of like how I dice my tomatoes. Hopefully you guys can see this pretty good. But I basically like do it this way so that way when I cut it, and I am a left-handed person, so if it looks weird to you, it's because I'm left-handed, okay? But basically, once you cut them up, then you already have them diced up. And so once we finish dicing all of these, key limes, okay? Now, some of you might be, oh, what's the difference between a key lime and a regular lime? Well, a regular lime is just fine. But those of you, and I think some of you already on here, have started or already been researching Dr. Sebi's stuff. So in his recommendation, he recommends the key lime. Now the key lime is smaller, but the key lime is the true original version of the lime. Okay, limes aren't really supposed to be as big as what we see them. So the key lime is basically the more original version of the lime. So key limes have a more tart taste. So I kind of like that as well. You can keep it on there while I bring the other stuff. We also went to the market and we bought some, they had already made it, fresh salsa. So something I don't have to make that will go on the haystack. And this particular salsa is made out of, it's made out of a chile, and it's I don't know what it's called in English. In Spanish, it's called chile de árbol, and if I were to directly translate that, that means a chile from a tree. Okay. Then that one only has three ingredients. Well, no, 4. It has garlic, oregano, salt, and that particular chile. And then, of course, the other thing that we bought, which is easy for us, we don't have to make it. And of course, that would be the pico de gallo. Okay. That would be the pico de gallo. So that one is, you know, takes out the guesswork to your haystack. Now, some of you might be like, okay, what is, again, like I was saying, those of you that are watching and you've never heard what haystack is, like I said, it's basically like a nacho, nachos, okay? So basically, and this is more for our YouTube viewers. Those of you that are on Zoom, I'm pretty sure you guys know what a haystack is. But basically, you take your corn chips, and then what, you know, and look, however you layer your nachos, people have different ways of doing it, okay? So my way might be a little different than yours, and there might be more things or less things that you might add. But basically, you would take your beans and you put them over your, not your corn chips, your tortilla chips. That's what I'm meaning to say. Then, if you want to add some greenery to it, you can take lettuce and you can chop it up. We'll vary it sometimes. Sometimes we'll use, to make it even easier, sometimes we will use the, you can buy the salad kit, the greens from the salad kit, and you can do it that way. But I'm gonna real quickly just chop a few up to show what that would look like. So you can put your lettuce on top of there. All right, and then however you decide that you are going to layer this up. So I'm gonna put my chopped tomatoes. You know, if we were at home, we definitely would have bought more stuff, but some people like to put olives, and you can put in the chat, you know, what are your favorite nacho toppings or haystack toppings? Then of course, the pico de gallo. And this is our vegan version. So, but there is like vegan shredded cheese that you can buy as well. All right, and then you can put the salsa on it. All right, guys.
Sorry.
Okay, so and voila, there you have it, the haystack. Okay, green onions, which we have chopped up as well. So we'll be, yeah, that's a good one, Janet. We'll be adding that as well. And that is going to be our simple meal for the evening.
Yes. And so what's I don't know, you took your phone off already, but what's very simple for, again, we found a seeded,
Hold on.
Seeded watermelon. All right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. Okay, we got seeded watermelon. So we've already cut off, probably did the easy part for you. And sometimes we did not bring our blender.
Right.
So ask the hotel to borrow a blender. This particular hotel allows you to have space for, you know, you go down and get the key and open up the cabinet and you're able to get your own blender. So this is how we're just gonna make our watermelon juice today. And you got your watermelon juice. So that was very simple. That was very simple. That's all we were intending to do right there, was to simply have, again, staying hydrated.
That's right.
All right. So we made that watermelon juice. And again, we probably won't drink it for a little while because we're going to, if we eat, remember the 40-minute rule.
That's right.
So you don't want to take watermelon on either side. You got to eat it by itself, drink it by itself, 40 minutes on either side, either after you eat or before you eat. You want to take that watermelon. So we'll probably chill that one. We got more in the refrigerator. We'll probably eat some, but whenever we get that break,
that's right,
we'll be able to do that. Right now, it's going to be the haystacks and maybe the ginger beer. We're gonna love it. So we that's how we are travel on the road. We made it to the hotel. I'm talking about minutes before we came on, lit up the room with our lighting, and then said, let's get ready to go on. So we that's it. If you have any questions about traveling, there we are. We just made it simple. This will fill us up for the night, and we'll enjoy the night and hit the road in the morning, make it all the way to Midlothian tomorrow evening or so.
Yes. And, I probably another tip, and it really depends on your budget, and we were able to fit it in. If you are traveling, it's good to try to find accommodation that has a little kitchenette.
Yes.
And so this particular establishment does have a kitchenette. And so that really not only saves us time, but also saves our budget. Many of you know it would have cost for the amount of money that we did to buy stuff for Haystacks. It was still less than probably one meal for
Yes.
each, which
Yeah.
is a total of four. And then we're able to pick and choose
Yes.
and eat how, what's going to be better, because, we still have 8 more hours to travel. So we have to make sure that, we're well hydrated, we're well rested, and that we are, fed well nutrient wise.
By the way, to Janet's point, this is a good watermelon. Like I said earlier, we're just not that far from the Rio Grande River,
Mhm.
and we believe it came right across that river. They know what they're doing. They full of seeds, full of lycopene, like a lot of energy.
Mhm.
This watermelon was picked by the now graduated on his way to college, Nicholas Thompson. He just did a great job with it. And so, remember last week we talked about that yellow. Sorry.
Right there.
Yes. So you see that yellow? That's what they talked about. Sorry, getting that good yellow in there. That's gonna be. You see a lot of these stingers from bees and things. Well, if they love it, you'll love it.
That's right.
So that's how you make sure that watermelon's gonna treat you real
Nice
good.
and red
Yes.
with the black seeds, and of course the taste. The seeded ones are usually sweeter.
So that's gonna treat you real good. That's gonna go in and wash your system out. You know, don't worry about the stereotype. They was hating on us because it was keeping us strong and powerful all the way through. So they shamed us out of eating this thing. I hope no black person ever fry that thing thinking that's what they're gonna do. You don't have to put no salt in it. We learned that last week, isn't that right, Sheila? So I want to know how it went too. You need to share how that went.
Yes.
So
I haven't used it since. I just been eating it plain. And my stomach did go down some.
Come on now, look at that.
Yeah.
That's a testimony right
That's
there.
right.
Ew.
What we try to do is set captives free on this thing. That's all we try to do. We don't want, bring your burdens to the Lord and leave them there. That's the old
Amen.
gospel song for that. So any other questions that you may have?
So the question is, where are we going? We are going to.
That's a great question.
It's really a small town. Well, it's not that small anymore. That I grew up just 30 minutes south of Dallas, called Midlothian, Texas. And that is where I grew up, and my parents and most of my family still live in. And, it was kind of iffy in terms of whether we were going to make this trip, definitely because we're in this pandemic season. And we definitely are not trying to put my parents in any type of situation to where they could catch this virus. The boys usually go every summer. They weren't able to go last summer. And so we've really been praying about this. And one of the things was, called my parents up, and I was like, look, these are my concerns. But how do you guys feel about us, coming down? And my mom was like, yeah, come on through. It'll be fine. So I
get a little extra bonus because my daughter
yes.
lives in Fort Worth.
Yes.
She is a general conference auditor. So I don't even know if she's in town. I texted her we were coming, but she flies all over. and audits big organizations for the church. And so her home is in Fort Worth. So she was glad to hear that we were on the road coming this way. So we'll see how that all plays out. too.
Yes, well, right. So, part of it that we've been doing is, and we're doing it at church too, is taking our temperatures, making sure that we're okay. And then once we're there, it's really going to be like quarantining because we're not necessarily looking to be out and about everywhere, and just really being able to spend time
Yes.
with family, and then traveling back and probably quarantining a few more days after we get to California to make sure that we're not putting people in jeopardy. So that is where we are headed to.
And, she's got to get back because she started school teaching. Nicholas is on his way to college to Washington Adventist University. So we got to get this in. And then we go from there.
Yes. But we wanted to take you guys
Yes.
along with us on this journey, on this trip. So even though we will be in Texas next Sunday, we'll be here.
Right there in
Health Talk.
Midlothian.
That's
time.
right. Straight from my parents' house. They're going to be the new studio. And I don't know, we might.
Might ask them what do they grow
Yes,
up
we
with.
exactly. We might include them to be part of this Health Talk.
But I will warn you, your father, when the lights turn on, it's showtime.
Yeah.
It's showtime.
Comedy.
Oh,
Comedy.
So
So he I don't know, he might want to steal the whole show. We gotta rethink this. I don't know. But definitely we want to just take it. Yeah, Michelle has met him, so she knows. We want to take you guys along with us on this journey, and just the reality of not only eating healthy at home, but how do you eat healthy like we're doing right now on a road trip, and when you're visiting family, because sometimes that can be really, really, really tough, especially if you are used to eating a certain way, or maybe don't be on a diet and you go visit your family because especially when it's your parents, they'll be like, oh, you're so bony, you need to eat some more. That can be the deal. But we will be here same time. What is it? Same bat channel. We will be right here at 6 p.m. It'll be 8 p.m. for us in Texas, but we will be here. We enjoy this village, this community that comes together both on Zoom, and those of you that are watching us live on YouTube. Thank you for being a part of this village. As we say, people, we are serious and intentional about targeting our people of color and their health. So that is what we're doing. And we have a question. Someone has raised their hand. Berta.
Go ahead, Berta. Unmute yourself. Oh, wait.
She's trying to come
Okay.
in. That's
Sorry.
what it is. Hold on.
Sorry, Berta. Were you just trying to get in the class, Berta? Sorry.
I have a comment.
Yes.
Hello. When we took our trip from Los Angeles to Washington and back, I just packed food because I was sending my boy to college and I didn't have money to be stopping at all these places.
There you go.
Paying, because I used to go up and down to PUC and I know how much it costs to eat on the road. So I just got the cooler and just went and bought stuff and just put it in there, anything that we could do. And it was the best thing because we ended up going on some back road up from Nevada through Oregon.
Nice.
And it was like 3 hours with no gas stations, no nothing. And so as we were driving, when you get hungry, somebody said, make me a sandwich, pass me some fruit.
Yeah.
And so that's how we managed to go all the way up and almost until we got to Idaho, because we were going up to see my uncle in Idaho. And that's when I learned how really powerful it is to be able to take your own food and make your own stuff, and you're not Otherwise, you're beholden to whatever fast food place you might happen to find. So it was a great lesson for me to learn firsthand. And
Did you go up through Mesquite and then up through St. George?
we went to Las Vegas,
Yes.
and unfortunately, I just put my uncle's address in my GPS and followed it. And he said, "How come you didn't go 15?
Right.
You told me to go this way."
Yeah, it was probably taking you away from the traffic.
Yes, it was faster.
Yeah,
About an hour. But
bird.
it was just a 2-lane highway, and the trucks went by at 75 miles an hour, and there was nothing, just totally out in the country for like 200 miles. That's all you did.
The desert's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
got a beautiful look.
Yes, and you're right, Janet. We pretty much did the same thing. We packed up our cooler, and like I said earlier, we, other than the orange juices
Right.
that we got at Jamba Juice, we didn't have to stop until for our meal that we're having
Right.
this evening, which you guys saw how simple that is. But we still have provisions in our cooler to tide us over for the 8-hour drive.
Yes.
I keep
Yes.
There
saying
you
that.
go. There you go. That's
Hour
it.
drive that we have for
Yes.
tomorrow.
Mercy.
So yeah, that's good. That was good.
Anybody else?
I wanted to say also that not only when you're traveling on the road, we have done, like, even when you're flying, like when we go to Panama or we go to Florida, we pack our nuts in, we take nuts and we have it in baggies, and even our supplements, the vitamins, in those little Ziplocs, small little Ziplocs for the whole week. We take green powders, seeds and things, and then we get down to Panama, we just buy kale and do smoothies at the hotel, wherever they have blenders, we ask them for blender. So you can, it's not on the road, you can do that when you even travel by plane,
Thank you for that, Berta.
Mhm.
In this
It's really
season,
good.
where the surge is coming up, you have to make sure that the vitamins and minerals are getting in your system.
Mhm.
There's no such thing as overboard in this.
Mhm.
Catch this thing head on. So that's why packing maybe a little more time for
Mm.
preparation, but that's the best way to go. So you're in control of your intake.
Mhm.
So one of the questions was, what is your opinion about flying? You're gonna give yours?
Well, if I'm in there and it's enclosed and people are sneezing and coughing and I can't roll down the window, I'm gonna have an issue, right? I'm gonna have an issue already. And the plane fares are going back up. So you have to deal with your budget versus how strong your immune system is to get it. Now, maybe from LA to Vegas or Oakland to Vegas, maybe that's not as bad, but that's still kind of scary because it doesn't take long
Mm-hmm.
for that thing to jump. So again, if you're gonna fly, if that's the only way, before you fly, you need to spend the few days before that equipping yourself with the best vitamins and minerals you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And like Berta said, take on the plane those things that will fight against any intrusion of that. So you want to make sure even your own water that may be stirred up with something that's going to help you, a mineral or vitamin that's in there. Just keep that in mind, and you can't you have to stay fighting at this thing. That's what I would do if I'm enclosed with a lot of people in a small space that I don't know, and especially they're not keeping their masks on. So people start sneezing and coughing in a plane that doesn't get out unless the ventilation is top excellent. My recommendation, if you got another route, take your time, enjoy the scenery. Like Janet said, enjoy the scenery of nature and the countryside, and you're in your car and you can social distance from the next car if it's in a rest area or whatever, but you control your environment. In an airplane, you got to be dependent on how they're clean it out. But if that's your only route.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too that it depends on your situation. I know some people that have traveled on the airplane, and you know, that right now the airlines are trying to do the best they can to keep the middle seat open so that there is some type of social distancing. In our particular situation, we did consider flying, but at the end of the day, because we were going to go visit my parents and it's four of us, you know, you had said, well, you know, the road trip, being in the car will kind of create our own quarantine bubble, if you will. It's just the four of us in the car. And, you know, that way we don't necessarily have to worry about the man who sneezed and coughed in his mask, but you swear you saw something, still leave the mask somewhere, okay? I mean, whether you did or not, but I mean, let's be real. Sometimes, you know, your mind can be like, no, I know I saw something come out of that mask. But you know, so it really depends. And sometimes, you know, for emergency situations, you do have to travel.
Yeah.
And so I like what you said. If you do have to travel, then equip yourself. You know, take, you know, love what Berta, some of the examples she was giving. Definitely equip yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have the opportunity, because this sounds kind of crazy, but you might want to do a colonic or a couple of enemas before you go. You just want to flush it out and then replace it with those good minerals and vitamins in there. So that's the war you got to do. You can never underestimate that. Sometimes it's an emergency, you got to get on a plane. You can't help that. If you got some time, prepare your body, your mind, the temple, so that it's equipped to take on intruders, because we all, what did Caleb say the other day? Everybody got COVID.
Yes.
We just don't know how it's fighting and how we can box it off. So what I'm saying is we're all susceptible. We're all
Right,
vulnerable.
right.
It's the survivors are the ones who've equipped their bodies
Right.
with that.
Right,
So that's
yeah.
what we want to encourage you to do.
That's right. All right. Well, any other questions? If not, then
Well, one of the things that they recommend, Dr. Youngberg, the one that we see a preventive medicine doctor, is that like for 3 days or so, just saturate your body with vitamin D, D3. If you can do 20,000 for like 3 or 4 days, usually they try it if you feel something coming on, but it's better if you're traveling.
I like
20,000 for like 3 days. Every day, 20,000 for like 3 days. Then your vitamin C levels up it. Like right now, I'm up to 15,000 with vitamin D, because by next week, we're expecting that surge from 4th of July. This week, next week, this week and next week. So my vitamin C are up like 6,000 a day. So those key ones, I try to up zinc, up that, try to eat pineapple, you know, fruits that are with vitamin C levels. So because you do want to equip the sauna is another one we're learning from Weimar, that Weimar is doing, getting their people with saunas like for 7 every day, you know, get in and just sweat out, you know, rest, try to rest between the hours at 10 and 2. So like Anthony said, you have to equip your body, because you can fight it off if your body is equipped, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
About when we hit that 50, it's best to deal with the liquid vitamins because they absorb more efficient. That's true. You can best do it. If you got any capsules, sometimes you want to open the capsule, stir it in there. It'll dissolve.
It absorbs, because it just goes, it bypasses the digestive system and it just goes straight into your bloodstream. And that's really anything. So yeah, absolutely.
Hey, shout out Sister Dr. Nanaje for your grandma, I believe, Sister Betty. She was one of the cafeteria providers and fixers of our food there. Sorry about this internet, but it's so that's been great. She took care of us. We ate well at an elementary school at LAAA. So that was great. Shout out to her. We're gonna miss her, but we'll see her in the kingdom. But she was a great preparer of food. So we used to eat well. then McDonald's showed up. And some of us were just suffering on the other side. Michelle, hopefully you'll be able to get to Houston, but Houston is a crazy spot. You know, they not hooking up our people with COVID-19 very well, defending, and then the police got issues. But anyway, we pray that whatever is more wise for you, we pray that God will lead you on that. Yes, Esther V. Batty, that's right. All right, anybody else with questions? Thank God. We're gonna go and, like I said, we were here minutes.
We're back. COVID didn't get
COVID
us.
tried to
We're
take us
still
out.
here. We're
We got a little
back.
unstable.
All right, so we do have to end this, unfortunately, because our internet is having issues. So thank you everyone that is on. Thank you for hanging in there with us. Again, we're gonna ask that you guys continue to be a part of this village, and certainly invite others to be a part of this village.
Especially young people, we know that they bored with this because they can survive
Yes.
all of that. But we always want to encourage the next generation to think on these things.
Mhm.
So if you ever got a minute, just invite them on, even if they don't, send them the link. Tell them, hey, teach them some good stuff and some fun stuff.
Yes. And also the link that you keep getting, it's the same link, so it doesn't change. So if for some reason you don't get a link from us, just save the link that you got today, and that is the same link that we use for Sunday.
Yes. And remember our Cash App, because we were able to use some of your gifts that we were able to do
Yes.
to buy some of the things. Cash App, what is it?
Vibrant Village.
Vibrant Village. $ Vibrant Village. We appreciate the gifts, whatever God's leading you to donate to this ministry, this outreach into community.
Mhm.
We just, like I said, we're on a mission, save our people from the issues of surge. People want to test out vaccines and things on our people first, and we're just trying to equip everybody.
That's right.
This is our battle. This is our contribution to justice. Make sure that you control your body
That's right.
and not somebody else.
All right, guys, we love you. Thank you for all the well wishes and prayers. We definitely will need them, and we're praying for you as well. Bye, guys.
Bye.